I'm sure you heard the news by now that Tucker Carlson, the most watched show on Fox News, the highest rated host on all of cable news, was fired yesterday. So I'm going to get into the reasons why, show how Fox News is siding with the old bags at The View, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the ADL, basically the liberal media industrial complex, and talk about what Tucker may have planned next, because he certainly isn't going away. Fox News viewers were given the false impression that Tucker Carlson must have just got tired of doing his show and just decided to leave.
We have some news from within our Fox family. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have mutually agreed to part ways. Tucker's last show was this past Friday.
As you can see, this woman has no dignity left, no soul. There she is, doing her job as a prostitute, lying to the audience, reading the teleprompter that it was a mutual agreement. It was mutual. There's no more reason to even watch Fox anymore. They are now the Bud Light of news. Here's Greg Gutfeld trying to hold on to whatever dignity he has remaining by hinting about the situation, but still abiding to the do not talk about it policy. And then he was quickly reprimanded by Judge Piero, who wants to keep her job and doesn't want to address the elephant in the room or talk about the biggest story in the news business on a talk show.
About Joe, we were having this conversation in 2019, and everybody said he was already past his prime. Shout out to Don Lemon.
Who got fired also yesterday, by the way.
But who would think we would have the same? I know, big media news today, huh?
Yeah, no, keep
wow,
talking.
Don Lemon. Wow.
Keep talking.
Who would have seen that coming? Anyway.
Keep talking, she says. Don't bring it up. They all want to keep collecting their millions by not biting the hand that feeds them. So what's the reason? A lot of people point to the Dominion defamation settlement, where just last week, Fox News settled the case for $787 million. But Tucker wasn't even named as a defendant in that lawsuit. That was basically brought about because of Lou Dobbs, who they fired, and Maria Bartiromo. Of course, Brian Stelter is on the case as part of his new beat at Vanity Fair, posting this on his newly unverified Twitter account because he hasn't paid for Twitter Blue, and he doesn't have 1 million subscribers, so he wasn't grandfathered in or protected by Elon as part of the mass unverification. And he writes in part, quote, "The reason for Tucker Carlson's termination can be found somewhere in the redacted portions of the emails and texts that Dominion obtained during the discovery process in its lawsuit against Fox." He thinks it's because Tucker was trashing Fox News executives in text messages to and between his staff and other Fox News hosts that were then discovered when his text messages had to get turned over as part of the discovery process for that lawsuit filed by Dominion. But that doesn't make any sense because everybody talks trash about their boss amongst their coworkers, and he wasn't doing that publicly. And even if they know how he really feels about them, he still was the top-rated host on the network, not to mention driving massive paid subscriptions to Fox Nation, their subscription service. Bill O'Reilly has another idea. He says that he knows the truth about what happened. He used to have Tucker Carlson's time slot. As you may recall, he used to be the face of Fox News until he was fired in 2017 after it came to light that the network had paid settlements to numerous women that he allegedly sexually harassed. And while many celebrities get extorted by lunatics and have to pay off nuisance settlements, it's just cheaper for them to do that, causes them less damage and is less time consuming. I do believe that one of the women had some very solid evidence that Bill O'Reilly was, in fact, a total dirtbag, and so he was fired. So Fredo, Chris Cuomo, who was fired from CNN and now works for the fledgling cable channel News Nation, which has fewer viewers than my YouTube channel, brought Bill O'Reilly on to explain what he thinks happened.
So one of Tucker Carlson's producers apparently taped a whole bunch of stuff. Her lawyer went into the Fox attorneys and said, unless you pay so-and-so some money, we're going to sue you. And Fox said, we're not paying, so they filed suit in New York City. And they had the tapes, and those tapes may be released to the public, all right? And they're not good tapes for the Carlson program. The second thing was last night on 60 Minutes. Ray Epps, you may remember that name, said to the audience, Tucker Carlson ruined my life and my family's life. by accusing me of having some kind of provocative role in the January 6th riots at the Capitol.
The lawsuit, by the way, from one of Tucker's former producers, Abby Grossberg, claims that there was a lot of bigotry and sexual harassment from the show, and she was the victim of anti-Semitism. And the supposed harassment that she claims that she was a victim of or witnessed was a text message from Tucker Carlson, presumably a group text message to the producers, to all the producers on the show, where he referred to Sidney Powell as, I believe, a dumb C word or the C word. So it wasn't like Tucker was harassing her, but the poor little snowflake had to read a text message which had a dirty word in it. And as you know, a certain group of people often accuse others of being anti-Semitic, more really than black people accuse others of being racist. And that's a very dangerous label to, have thrown at you. And so she probably just overheard somebody in the office wishing someone else Merry Christmas. And, that felt like anti-Semitism because she doesn't celebrate that holiday. Christians have persecuted her people throughout history and blah, blah, blah. Jonathan Greenblatt over at the ADL tweeted, quote, "It's about time. For far too long, Tucker Carlson has used his primetime show to spew anti-Semitic, racist, xenophobic, and anti-LGBTQ hate to millions. The ADL has long called for his firing for this and many other offenses, including spreading the Great Replacement theory."
The board of directors said, we got to start cleaning this up. So Dan Bongino was the first domino to fall, even though he wasn't involved with the Dominion thing.
Wow, Bill O'Reilly is right on point here. That's another thing on my list of things to talk about. Bill O'Reilly's stealing my thunder here. Dan Bongino, in case you didn't hear, he got fired. He was a regular Fox contributor, and he had a weekend show as well. And he was banned from YouTube completely. He has a very popular podcast. He doesn't pull any punches when it comes to questioning the security or the accuracy of electronic voting machines. And so Fox News is purging anybody who dares talk about such things.
And then Carlson, because of the impending litigation, was harpooned this morning.
So for those who didn't hear and those who tuned in to Fox News yesterday expecting to watch Tucker Carlson, this is what they were told.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fox News Tonight. I am Brian Kilmeade. As you probably have heard, Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. I wish Tucker the best. I'm great friends with Tucker and always will be. But right now, it's time for Fox News Tonight, so let's get started.
Oh, yeah, just moving right along. Let's not talk about the biggest story in media. And by the way, when they say that they mutually agreed to part ways, even though they fired him, what that means, that's legalese for Fox News has agreed not to hold Tucker Carlson personally liable for any of the damages from any of the lawsuits, from the Dominion lawsuit, from the still ongoing Smartmatic lawsuit, from the lawsuit from his former producer. So if there's any damages that are awarded to those people, those are being paid from the network, not being paid from Tucker Carlson. So that's why they're spinning it as a mutual decision, and they're paying him the remainder of his contract. So in a sense, Tucker Carlson keeps his mouth shut because he has an NDA with them that was in his contract. So you'll really never hear him talking trash about the network because he literally can't. I mean, in a sense, he was dancing with the devil, and this is what happens eventually. Here he is on Dave Rubin's show, who's the token gay conservative of mainstream conservative media and the controlled opposition alternative media as well, who function as a Trojan horse basically to get conservatives to embrace gay marriage and surrogacy and gay adoption.
I am glad to have you here, my friend.
I'm glad to be here. I love this.
I don't know that anyone has ever walked in here and been more impressed by the Rubin
Because I
Report.
work in television, so I know what this is, and it's just the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Are you jealous?
Are you joking? Yes, I'm jealous.
You have millions and millions of viewers.
I drive
a night.
across-
You have a massive staff.
But I don't have the control that you have, which is wonderful.
Yeah, control.
And there is the rub. Even though all YouTubers have to obviously abide by the terms of service, and sometimes you can skillfully navigate them and still get your point across without actually technically breaking the terms of service. But then there's people like Dave Rubin who are, kind of in a special class. They're given special treatment because, he's the Trojan horse, like I said. But Tucker Carlson knows that being an ordinary podcaster or a YouTuber or a content creator, you don't have a whole corporate conglomerate with their hands up your back, tying strings on you, telling you what you can and cannot say. And we have to all put a few more dollars in the Alex Jones was right jar, because this was him just a few weeks ago.
I predict he won't be at Fox News in the near future if he's unable to put this out. I'm going to leave it at that. But that's speaking from my perspective. I'm not speaking for Tucker.
I'm not sure exactly what story Alex is talking about there, but most likely just some more revelations about electronic voting machines or January 6th. So what's Tucker going to do now? Well, he might not be able to host another show or a podcast for several years until his contract runs out. I certainly hope that isn't the case, but the fact that they're going to be paying him the remainder of his contract, he very well might not be able to actually do another show. He can do speaking events, he can do guest appearances, but he might not be able to do another show for another year, couple years, until that contract is expired. At some point, I think he's going to come back and host his own podcast, and it'll be like a video podcast, sort of like the Joe Rogan Show. Could be on Spotify, could be on Rumble. After Megyn Kelly quit Fox News and then got fired from NBC News after she said that it was totally fine, and it is, for kids to wear Halloween costumes of characters that aren't white, if the kids are white. So she partnered with SiriusXM for a radio show, podcast, video podcast on her YouTube channel as well, where she has almost 1 million subscribers. And she started off with nothing, built this up. Very strange times we're living in when former major network hosts are now essentially becoming YouTubers. My bet would be that Tucker hires his own production staff so that he owns the rights to his content and then distributes his podcast on all the major platforms and perhaps likely makes Rumble his home base. And a lot of people are asking me, well, why don't you just quit YouTube and join Rumble? Well, I have a Rumble channel. I just don't post over there. If I ever get banned from YouTube, I'll post over there, and I want to post on Rumble, but I don't think they like me very much because they're not returning my emails or my texts or my DMs. I spoke with the CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, on the phone like 2 years ago. I have his cell phone number, although he hasn't returned my texts for the last couple that I sent him. But, he wanted me to join back 2 years ago when it was first blowing up. And I did. And monetization was, it's terrible. In order to really thrive or make a living on Rumble, you have to do ad reads or live streams to get the paid Rumble rants, which is basically like the YouTube super chat. So I don't live stream. The monetization over there, to be honest, not really that great. And so I told him, just activate a paid membership service on my Rumble channel, which is essentially the same thing that they've done for Steven Crowder, but apparently they don't want to do it for me. And I'm not even asking for like a lot of money. I'm not asking for any money. I just want them to activate the feature so that the fans can pay for exclusive content, because I don't think it makes any sense to direct people to locals, which they own, for exclusive content. And I told them, I said, it's just, you're asking the audience to switch over to Rumble, but then also download another app and open another account and then support your work on this other app and then watch exclusive content on locals instead of on Rumble. So I told them to just integrate it into my Rumble channel, which I think is what they did with Steven Crowder with Mug Club, aside from giving him, of course, probably an exclusive just contract with tons of money. I'm not even asking for that. So at some point, if, we can't figure something out, I'll put out a call to action and, maybe we can help encourage them a little bit. But that's the reason why I haven't jumped ship and went over to Rumble, because you have to start doing ad reads to make any money over there. It's just this whole big can of worms. As problematic as the monetization is and the other terms of service on YouTube, the dirty little secret is that the monetization on YouTube, when the videos get monetized, it's way better than Rumble. Rumble, you make, maybe $1 a video. So if you don't want me to be like every other YouTuber and do annoying 90-second ad reads at the beginning of every video for garbage products that I'm sure that they would never even use, even if they were given to them for free, then head over to markthis.com or click the link in the description below and order my shirts, like my new Wanted for President in 2024 shirt. when you get it, just a heads up, it's going to look old. That's by design. It's the distressed look because I wanted it to look like an old-fashioned Western wanted poster. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.